and welcome to Tales from the Midpack. I'm your host, Rebecca Hunt.
And I'm your other host, Daniel Farrugia. I am from the Trail Runners Experience.
So today we have a crossover episode. So welcome to Tales from the Trail Runners Experience.
Podcast experience thingy. It's like Batman versus Superman, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, excellent. I knew it was never going to be perfect, but it's good. We're going through our own little standard formulae from our own podcast. So I always ask people, when you're not running, what do you get up to? I'm obviously a podcaster, runner, and a running coach. So pretty much my entire life revolves around running. And also I'm a dad to three small children, and I spend a fair bit of time at home doing that and being supportive of my wife, who works more than me out of the home. And so that's all. No, it's all pretty being at home a lot is good. So with the pandemic this year, my life didn't change a great deal in terms of having to go. I mean, my office is just down the hallway.
And also ask how long you've been running and what got you into running. Like, it's obviously become a massive passion for you, but what started that?
How long have I been running? So I've been running, I suppose, in different ways from my whole life competitively. So I was a pretty decent cross-country runner back in high school and represented at state level a number of times. And then I remember when I was about 19, I ran my first half marathon, and that was the Sydney Morning Herald half marathon. This is going back, that's over 20 years. And then I've got my first ultra. I ran my first marathon at 32 or 31, and then I ran my first ultra the following year, which was Urabilla. And then after I did the Sydney Marathon, which that was like, okay, I'm going to retire. 32 is far too old to be running. And how little I knew. And since I actually run a lot, I've run more ultras than I've run marathons. I've only run 3 marathons, but a stack of ultras. And yeah, it's good. Now it's such a big part of my life. Yeah. I'm still not sick of it, so it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I don't know what got me into it. I think it's anything. When you see that you're kind of a little bit good at something, you want to do it more.
Yeah.
Do you find the same thing with anything in life?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm good at running, but I'm good at persisting.
Yeah.
And just when things get tough, keep going. So that's probably what headed me into ultras, really.
Yeah. What do you enjoy about it, though? If what's one thing you enjoy? But there's probably many things.
Getting out into parks, national parks. I don't think I've ever visited parks in South Australia like I have since I started trail running. So that's been something I absolutely love. Running last night in Blair National Park, and there's this koala at eye level that was very quiet and still, and everyone else had missed, and I was like, hello. I don't know. I love being out in nature. So that's one of the biggest things for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I probably should back up just a little bit. I wanted to for my listeners. So you are a former guest on my podcast, and I've actually just been scanning through. This is episode 70 for the Trail Runners Experience. Mm-hmm. If we go back to episode 20, is when way back in 2018. That's when you made your first appearance, and I remember you had just completed your first ultra, I think.
I think we met on the bus on the way up, and I was this excited little meerkat, just like talking to everyone. What are you doing? Couldn't stop talking. And then I heard your voice. I'm like, you're the guy from the podcast.
That's
so we
great.
Met on the bus.
And you've obviously evolved. Your running has evolved a bit since then, and you're I guess like everything in life, things grow and change, and now you've just completed the 57, and now you've done a couple of hundreds, and become a bit of a seasoned ultra runner.
It's weird to think of myself like that.
But
I have to say, it's been in my mind lately that I was able to do 100k successfully with not enough training, and I don't recommend that, obviously, but it's put the seed in my head of, could I possibly do a miler one day?
Of course you could.
And that just, if you'd asked me that back in the 57, no way, that's just crazy. That's way, way, way too far.
What's the fascination with a miler? And I mean, I'm saying this as someone who who's getting ready for their first miler.
I'm probably a victim of one of my passions, which is watching running films on YouTube. I love Billy Yang's work, and there's some really good Salomon videos and Ginger Runner, and I just see those journeys and I love those documentaries and what people go through and what they say they get out of them. And those videos have really planted the seed for me. Yeah. So I want to have that experience.
Yes.
Whether that's going to be wise or not is a whole other question.
I think the further we go, the more I always say, like, ultras are a really good revealer of your character, your true character.
Yeah.
It's like they say that with drinking as well. People, when someone is really drunk, you see what they really like. And then, usually it can often bring out the worst in people. And I've seen the worst come out in people in ultras as well. But I've seen most of the time, you see the best in people.
Yeah.
You know?
I think so.
I think for those keen listeners, we are sitting rather close to a train line. Yes. It's okay, you'll get used to it.
They go by frequently. Yeah. Just watch out for the freight trains.
So
last time we interviewed, a rat ran under the table.
That's right. We were at the pub, weren't we?
Yes, we thankfully didn't name the place.
Yeah, we won't. That's right. Not good not hygienic, perhaps, but it was tricky. We were al fresco.
Yes. So we were thinking of doing kind of just a year wrap up.
Yeah.
Show kind of. We just briefly planned it just before we started talking.
Yeah, and I thought exactly. And I mean, when I contacted you about doing this, I knew that you were passionate about that. You're enjoying this content creation, like podcasting and stuff, and it's a fun experience. And I thought you'd have some good ideas, and you came out with me with a bunch of ideas that I'd never even heard of, and I thought, let's try something. So we What was one of the ideas?
Yeah, one of them was the thumbs up, thumbs down. So basically, throw a topic out there.
Great.
And then you can't fence it. It has to be thumbs up or thumbs down, and then kind of justify why.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to do one for you right now.
Yep.
We didn't write this one down.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's an easy one. 2020. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Oh, that's difficult. I've gained so much from the journey I've been on in this year, but I think overall it is a thumbs down year, and I knew it was going to be. So thumbs down year, but a necessary year.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a lot of people feel the same way for an obvious reason, as I've heard it called a lot lately. The spicy cough really annoyed people. It's a better name for it.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. But I think that it has exacerbated a lot of other mental health issues for people, which I don't think a lot of people really predicted. I didn't really think it would be that big an impact on myself personally. Like I've probably I've run basically as much as I did last year, but I've only run one race.
Yeah.
So I've done, which is really weird. Usually I would have, your year's punctuated by various races, and I've done one race, and it was way back in January. So it's a bit of a unique year.
It is.
Running
and
was
I like
definitely
having
salvation.
Events on the calendar. I find them very motivating.
Yeah.
To get me out and train. So the lack of events hasn't stopped me running, but I think it's reduced it a bit.
Yeah. So for me, I would say 2020. It is a hard question.
Yeah.
I put it out there because we're not allowed to be fence sitters in this, are we?
No.
So because I was going to say there's good and bad. There is good and bad, but I think overall I would give it a thumbs down.
I guess the question is, when it finishes, will I be glad it's finished? Yes. So
excellent.
Thumbs down. Yeah.
Always looking to the future. That's the best way to live.
Yeah.
I
think so too.
All right, let's do the thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's see what we can do. What do we got here?
Now, we haven't discussed these. We just kind of randomly wrote them down. Bottles or bladders. So you're thumbsing up one and thumbs down the other.
Okay, so we have to choose...
Bottles or bladders?
If I had to choose one, I'm definitely a soft flask person. When you say bottles, you're referring to soft flasks. If you're not a trail runner, you probably won't know what a soft flask is, but it's those things that you wear at the front of your vest. You see people, and it looks like you've got, and people are trying
you lean down and it looks like you're breastfeeding yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know how to say it.
It does.
It does look a little bit offensive. They don't look great, but they're really the most practical way.
Yeah.
And you can be more aware of how much you're drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
So your thumbs down to bladders, thumbs up to bottles?
Yes.
I prefer bladders. I don't like having things in my hands. I was running with some guys this week who are actually saying, I think I have to go thumbs down to bladders even though I prefer them physically.
They hold more, which is good.
Yeah. But bottles are just accurate. They're right there. I did this year buy some extra bottles that I picked up halfway during an event where they had the sticky out straws on them.
Yeah.
Because I find that when I put my head down to a bottle, my nose runs, only in long runs.
Yeah.
So having that meant I didn't have to put my head down as much.
Oh, that's great.
So the bottles actually were much better for me. So that puts the thumbs up even a little bit more for bottles.
Bottles are good.
Yeah.
I have done a race before where I carried, I think because the minimum, I think it was the Hubert 100 a few years ago, 100K, and we had to carry 2 litres, and I didn't want to carry a bladder, so I carried 4 bottles.
Yeah.
And 400 or 500 ml bottles, which was really good.
Yep.
So I just had 2 in the back and then 2 on the front at all times.
Yep.
And it was the best way because I could just keep switching them out and then refill. And that way one of them had my sports drink in it. I think I had a bit of Infinite in it, and I just would keep refilling that same one.
Yeah.
And then the rest was just water. And I just was like, okay, I've got to get through this bottle in the next hour.
Yeah.
You know, and because really, I think it sounds like for you need to put yourself on a time schedule.
I had a little printout that I'd laminated.
Yeah.
And I had it in one of my pockets, and I'd pull it out and go, right, between this checkpoint and that checkpoint, you will drink this many litres.
That's good. That's good. No, and it's hard when the weather's cooler. I know because you're not as compelled to drink.
No.
But you do sweat a lot, and you don't realise it.
Run I did where it was hailing on me twice, and it was snowing in Mount Lofty, and so I just didn't think enough about I'm sweating even though it's cold and windy, and so I misjudged.
I have and this is a competition for any engineers out there. Okay, so I'm throwing this is my idea, or maybe it's not my idea, maybe someone else has come up with it. Why can't someone invent a gauge for the bladders?
The bladders at the back, they'll be amazing.
So you can go, I've drunk 700 mils, I've got 1,300 mils left, okay? And so, because when your pack is full of gear, you have no sense of how heavy it is. Plus the water, it's tricky, isn't it?
There is a bottle you can buy, I think it popped up on Facebook feed, just like a standard water bottle like you have in your desk at work, that you get the app for it on your phone.
Yeah.
And it talks to your app, and it keeps track of how much you drink during the day. So when you empty it, refill it, you don't have to keep thinking. You go to your app and go, I've had this many meals. So surely that technology kind of exists.
Yeah.
How we apply it to soft bladders in the back of a backpack bouncing around, I'm not
there
sure.
There you go. So engineers, get on it. Rebecca and I will take...
I would buy one.
I'll take a 60% cut.
Yeah.
Engineer, because I'm the ideas. No.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. No, I wish. No, you need to hydrate, and because if you don't, and hydration also helps with your digestion of your nutrition. So it's really important that you do drink a lot. But anyway, that's a good topic.
Yeah. I just made a rule for myself that I must empty my bottles before I go to the bladders, and then I'm being more accurate about what I've got in me. But still didn't quite get it right.
You're getting there. Yeah, it's good. What's the next one?
Next one was gels versus real food.
I'm not allowed to give... I can't be a fence sitter, but there's definitely... Look, I'm going to say real food.
Yep.
With a big asterisk next to it.
Okay.
So real food gets a thumbs up. And when you say gels, are you talking about just gels, or are you talking about like...
Let's say fake food.
like your infinites and your packet stuff and okay. There is definitely a scope for both.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of my nutrition in runs comes from real food.
Yeah.
So I'll have to go with real food.
Yeah.
How about you?
I was advised that I could basically just do the event on infinite for calories. But I know that my body doesn't like that. It wants real food.
100 kilometres?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never even tried that.
So I like eating real food, but I find that any event that's over kind of 50, 60K, I get sick of real food.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And
it gets harder to eat.
It gets harder to eat. Like the last 5K of Heysen, I was ravenous. Like my stomach's rumbling. I'm so hungry. But any time I tried to eat anything, it was just like, look, I don't want it. Don't want it. So I was just drinking water to try and quell the hunger pains for the last 5K. It was so crazy. I didn't know whether to force myself to eat and make myself sick. It was just really weird. And I think that my body, it's like the bottle bladder. Like I want to say bladders, but I think I have to be bottles. So I want to thumbs up real food, but clearly there becomes a point where my body doesn't want real food anymore. But I haven't explored gels, all those other things. And I know that so much research has gone into them. And one of the main reasons is I just hate just that processed sugar content. That's what I want to avoid because it's so bad for you. But I think I have to maybe force myself to be more thumbs up, that I have to go and trust the research, the evidence, everything that they've done, and get into these things. Because big, thick, Cliff bars, big, thick, the seed bars, which are delicious and amazing normally. I go over 60K, body just doesn't want them.
Do you ever eat, exactly, because GI distress is one of the number one causes of race failure.
Yeah.
Do you ever eat sandwiches or anything like that?
Yeah, I love a Vegemite sandwich, but then I just worry it doesn't have enough calories in it.
You've got to eat more. So most 100K ultras that I've done, especially in recent years, I will eat at least, as part of my thing, I'll have at least 4 sandwiches throughout the day. And so that's coupled with everything else. Yeah. My philosophy with real food is eating a bit like a sparrow. So constantly pecking away, but just from very early on as well. Yeah. I will have something. I'll start eating within the first 5 kilometres. Yeah. And while the guts are good, you get the food in.
So maybe I need to front load more.
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is hard, but it is that you're not going to get through an ultra on just those sugar drinks and gels and stuff. I mean, some people can, and but I think,
I
you
did
need
try
a nutrition
the
plan.
Blocks beforehand.
Oh, I like shop blocks.
Yeah,
I enjoy those.
It seemed like it was good. It's just quick and easy to eat, but then my stomach just went, boom, just bloated out. It didn't like it at all. And I'd chosen the margarita flavour because I thought
sounds fun.
Might have a bit of salt to it, so it didn't seem so sickly sweet.
Yeah,
but
you got to have some saltiness for sure. Have you ever tried Morton?
No, I've never heard of it.
Morton is what Kipchoge, the marathon runner, has had, and it's a different kind of product. Yeah. It's a little bit expensive, but the way it's absorbed into the body is different.
Okay.
It's absorbed into the large intestine. No, the small intestine. Yeah. It bypasses the stomach. It forms a what do you call it? A hydrogel.
Yeah.
So you drink it. You can have it as a gel, or I've only ever had it as the powder in my drink. It tastes really quite neutral. Yeah. It's not sickly sweet.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's very easy to drink. In Heysen last year when I ran my best time, I used Morton for the first sort of 40 to 50 kilometres. Yeah. And that was huge. And no GI distress. And the whole point of it is it's quite strong because it bypasses the stomach and it is absorbed in through the small intestines. You can actually absorb more carbs and more calories. And so, because they basically say average runner can probably tolerate 60 to 80 grams of carbohydrates per hour. Yeah. Most people, elite athletes, train themselves to eat more. Yeah. When we try and eat more, we get sick. Yeah. And so, Morton is different in that it has more, so you can. It's great. I would recommend, and I'd say this to anyone. It is a pretty good product, but it is more expensive. Try it out on like a longish run, maybe 2 hours, not too long, but have it on an empty stomach just to test it out. And so maybe if you get out in the morning, have it maybe have a light breakfast or no breakfast at all. Yep. And the first time I ever did that, it was amazing. I remember I did a run out the uni loop. I was training for the 6 hour, and it was so it was night and day how good it went into my body, and how I was just like, and I did a couple of hours and I was like, I feel fantastic. And that's even without any caffeine. Do you ever have caffeine?
No, I don't.
Oh. That's caffeine's good. That's a whole other topic. You shouldn't include that.
Yeah.
But you've got to be careful with that too.
Yeah, I've heard you got to be careful. I kind of have one coffee in the morning, that's it. So I figure it's playing with fire if I start putting that in my system. And when I go for runs normally, I'm always on an empty stomach. I don't eat before, and most of my runs I don't eat during, and so I probably need to train for that more.
Got to eat. You got to train the belly as much as you train the legs and the lungs. Yeah. But definitely. Right. What's our next topic?
Next one. So we found some frivolous ones. So you get those running shorts with
this is not frivolous
lining in them.
Yeah.
And then the question, we saw that pose somewhere and we thought it was funny, was so then if it has that lining, do you wear underwear or not wear underwear? So which are you giving the thumbs up? Underwear or no underwear and shorts with lining?
So shorts with lining, my favourite shorts, because I hate chafing. Chafing can derail your race. Mm-hmm. And, we've got to take care of the nether regions. And I am going to say, if I'm wearing those particular shorts, which I do, it's no underwear.
No underwear.
Yeah, because these are not the ones. The ones I run in don't have that net. They have like a proper built-in, to the shorts. So don't worry, I don't want to be too free. So I'm going to go thumbs up to no underwear when wearing those.
Freestyle.
Yeah. How about yourself?
I knew somebody who went freestyle, and I just always thought the running shorts are so short and those things aren't super tight. And so I just, out of paranoia and out of it feels weird because it's not what I normally do. I'm underwear all the way. I don't care what lining the shorts have.
It depends on, for me, it
thumbs
depends.
up for underwear.
Fair enough. It depends on the lining for me. Like it definitely, I used to run a lot in much shorter shorts. And that was from back in the day when I used to do cross country, and so I would be, I don't know, like that just was the norm. And then I've watched shorts get longer and longer. And then you look at someone like Courtney DeWalter, and she wears shorts that go down to her knees. Yeah. I think that's too long, but I can't really tell her what to do. She knows what she's doing, and but I couldn't do that. And but chafing's no fun though. So, but I used to in those short shorts. I definitely wore underwear. Don't worry. I wouldn't subject the world to that. No. You wouldn't want to have a fall and then like something.
Oh God.
Something fall out.
Another one we had was in summer, there's always that battle of, you want sun protection, but you don't want to overheat. So what gets your thumbs up, sun cream or fabric?
Probably fabric. Yeah. Or, actually, no, there's another one, but I'll let you go first.
Oh, it's good. I know your joke about
excess body hair.
Yep.
That's it. I'm a pretty hairy man, so it's helpful. So if you want to, ladies, if you want to get more sun protection, maybe human growth hormones. Produce some body. Oh no, I'm being silly.
Get the body hair going.
Yeah. No. But I don't wear sun cream anywhere near enough. But at the same time, part of the reason I don't wear it is because I don't like the way it feels, especially when I'm sweating, and if you sweat if it's on your face, it goes in your eyes.
It stings.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, that's hard. My skin hates sun cream. I get pimples from sun cream, no matter how good the sun cream is. But I hate being hot. I hate feeling like I'm dressed long sleeves and everything in summer.
Yeah.
It's like, it's summer. I want to, yeah. And I'm also, I remember listening to a Trail Runner Nation podcast where they had a professional on talking about trail runners and vitamin D that think that, you know, we're out for hours in the sun, therefore we get lots of vitamin D. But apparently because we cover up, and even when we use sun cream, we're actually blocking that. And so we actually get, vitamin D deficient.
Yes,
even though we're out in the sun for hours. So I get a bit catch-22 with all of that. But I understand like all the melanoma danger. And so I think I'm a thumbs up for sun cream, because I just want to feel like it's summer and I'm out experiencing the summer and I get hot in sleeves or clothes. And I was saying that, read something recently in a thread where someone was commenting that muslin that a lot of people put on, and especially put over prams, doesn't actually block UV.
Yeah.
So you got to get very specialised clothing, I think, to be light and sun protective.
Yeah. So. It's interesting. I want to have a look. I think I mentioned to you before about that runner, Candace Burt. You know, I've seen her in a lot of her Instagram photos. She wears the long sleeve business shirts that are really light, and like I never really thought. I think they're made of cotton. You know, it's a really thin cotton, but maybe it's not offering as much sun protection as you.
Just to look into it.
Yeah. Because
it's a good idea. Although it'd be pretty funny. Running around in business shirts.
There was some guy in Heysen last year, keeping in mind I had one of my better runs. It was a good run for me. And I don't know, probably about 40 Ks in. I was running with him for a while, and he had one of these shirts on. And he took off and left me. I don't know his name. And he, I never saw him again. He was definitely I think he was like a sub 12-hour runner.
Wow.
And so worked for him.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's difference. I mean, Heysen doesn't often get hot, but because of the time of year. But, I mean, this time of year, we're in December right now. And so, you know, even today, which is only destined to be about 32, which is quite still hot, though, to run in. You know? Anything that gets into the high 20s and beyond.
And we're definitely into that time of year where the sun is just biting.
Yeah. You can really feel it.
Yeah.
My biggest problem is I'm always having to wear hats because, you know, I'm losing the hair on the top of my head. So I'm told, because I look and I can't see it, so it mustn't be real.
I've been getting, since I started trail running, a few little sunspots on my face. So I do wear a hat on days like today, and I wear my sunnies and sun cream up. But
I think you got to cover up a fair bit. And so I've got this thing in my eye from not running with sunglasses for so long. It's a pterygium, and that's developed from excess UV exposure.
Okay.
And so it'll either, if it gets worse, I have to get it surgically removed, but as it stands, it's fine.
Right.
It's not, but it's like, so there are risks. Even like, as much as, I mean, I use the Gouda sunglasses.
Yeah, so do I.
And look at that. We've both got our Goudas right here.
Hang on, what have you got? I love their names. I've got Falcor's Fever Dream.
Lovely. Or they could
I'm a bit of a Never-Ending Story fan.
But it's blue. Okay. And mine is Phoenix at...
Is it rubbed off a bit?
At Bloody Mary Bar. Is that what that says? Phoenix?
Oh. Phoenix at a Bloody Mary Bar.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Also known as Red.
Yep.
The actual... Yeah. Anyway... I think, but they're good glasses because they're pretty robust and they're cheap. They're fairly cheap, but they'd actually you get a lot of the side reflection. Yeah. And there is eye damage. You know, if you want to be doing my objective is to be doing this sport for decades more.
Yes.
And you know, I'm 41, and I thought, you know, I'm getting some of these eye issues now. I do worry. I don't want to have to wear. I hate the look of the wraparound sunnies.
Yeah.
But if I have to go to it, I will.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they'll make me run faster because they're more aerodynamic. No, stupid.
But yeah, I guess they are associated as being old people glasses, but that's just a mental barrier, really. Like, what comes first, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Anyway, that's a good one.
All right. I remember what this one was. Couldn't really understand my note for a sec. Single use or multi-use is what I'd written down, and that was about you go out running, you come back in, what do you do with the clothes? Do they get washed or do they get used again? So thumbs up to single use, nah, you got to wash your clothes every time, or thumbs up to multi-use, going, yeah, she'll be right. Bit of stink never hurt anyone.
Yeah. So you're all about hygiene. That's good.
No, I'm a multi-use person.
Oh, you are a multi-use.
I'm absolutely multi-use.
Good.
I'm thumbsing up for that.
Yeah. How
Whatever
many
reduces
times?
the laundry. Oh, that's a good question.
When does it become socially unacceptable?
I'm a smell test person.
Yeah.
I pick up a top and bump that, and I look at it. If I can't see anything, it's already halfway to being back in the cupboard, and then I just give it a whiff.
Yeah.
And if I flinch, it goes in the wash. That's pretty much
That's
it.
good. Is that for all of your wash?
That's for everything.
Yeah, I know. Oh, look. And when you've got children, I know, like it's otherwise the washing just never stops. Yeah. I'm sure it does. And so you can't wash everything. My kids will wear something for 5 minutes and then they'll throw it in the dirty clothes basket. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you even doing? It's just anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to say thumbs up to multi-use, unless I do have some decorum because I'm a sweaty, stinky dude. I will, if I'm going to meet someone for a run, I'll go and get my cleanest shirt.
Right.
And I might even put clean socks on.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, I've got lots of running shirts, but there's a handful that I wear more than others.
Yeah.
Because they're comfortable.
Yeah.
They're the most comfortable.
Yes.
And I don't know. Also, I think there's a little bit of I get a bit of mojo from certain shirts.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that? Do you have certain shirts that make you feel good?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I've got a blue Kathmandu one, which I really like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But when you were talking, made me realise that lately I've started to go, so those socks, do they need to go in the wash? That was only a 5K run.
Exactly. Oh, look, dying.
And then I put them somewhere so they air out and they're perfectly dry. And but I'm a bit, really, I should just throw them in the wash. But.
Generally, socks are the last thing I'll wash.
Okay.
They get the most runs, which is gross.
Well, I'm new to multi-use socks.
No, I'll tell you why. Because I always lose socks in the wash. And then I've got a couple of really good anti-blister pairs of anti-blister socks that I've just been loving, and they don't smell as much because of the material they're made out of. That's what they market themselves as. It's the 2XU ones. They're really good. And the way I see it, socks are as far from my nose as they can be, so I can't smell them. They're way down there on the ground doing their thing. My feet are going to sweat if they're already. I mean, there is if I can smell the socks when I put my shoes on, then maybe it's time that they have a little bath. But yeah,
I'm
it's
on
gross,
that two uses max.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter the distance.
Fair enough.
That's where I'm at with socks.
Yeah, maybe I need to change some of my habits. I probably have better.
Yeah.
Oh, my feet don't smell. My wife would tell me if they did. Yeah. Oh. But anyway, that's a good one. I think. Yeah. I think you can do too much washing. You wear the shirts so much and they start to wear out. Like very
peeling and all that.
Yeah.
Speaking of shirts, our next one was, you sign up for an event and there's always merch.
Yep.
So race shirt or no race shirt was the question. Which one do you thumbs up?
I've evolved on this one, but I'm going to go with yes to race shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah. My when I first started getting into the longer stuff, I would value the race shirt over the medal. Wow. And I remember the first time I attempted Heysen, I actually DNF'd.
Yeah.
Back in 2013.
Yep. That was a super hot year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a hot year. And I remember I'd actually paid for the race shirt beforehand. But then when Ben Hockings, the race director, was like, "Oh, your shirt's ready," I'm like, I don't want it. I refused the shirt because I did not finish the run. And even if he had given it to me, I wouldn't have worn it. Yeah. And so I felt like I had to earn the shirt.
Yeah.
And they're a good memory. And I do have Heysen shirt from the following year, which I wear all the time because that was my first proper 100. And it's not the most attractive shirt. I think it's a little bit loud, but I like it because it's one of those ones that gives me mojo.
Yeah.
So definitely a thumbs up for race shirts overall. Yeah. How about you?
When I started buying the race shirt because I thought it'd be a really good memento. But I find I absolutely hate the fabric, and everyone seems to use the shiny fabric. Like they're getting sports stuff for staff at my work, shiny fabric. Like it's the
the heavy stuff. Heavy?
I can't. It's not heavy, but it's just shiny, and I don't know why, but I just hate the feel of that material. It's like girls. It might be the same with guys, but running pants. They're all this tight, lycra-y, shiny fabric, and I hate it with a passion. But if I buy, and it's so rare to be able to find anything cottony, but if I do that, they never have any pockets. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I hate the fabric, and they always do round neck, and I hate round necks. I always feel like I'm being choked.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree on the round neck.
I want V-neck, and I want a soft, cottony feel fabric, and it doesn't exist. And so I find that ended up buying a really nice medal rack.
Yes.
And so I keep the medals from events that are really important to me, and I have that as my memento instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, at first I was like, yeah, I'll buy all the t-shirts, it'd be so cool. And then I try to wear them and I'm like, I hate them. And it's no particular event or anybody, it's just across the board.
Yeah.
In most sports, I think. So it's like the fabric everyone else loves, I hate, and I don't know why. It's a sensory issue, I think.
Yeah. It is an interesting thing. It's funny thing, going back to the actual race shirt, like, yeah, you're right. I mean, like, I was thinking about when I did the Sydney Marathon, I remember I was running along. I was such a rookie back, like in terms of, I did the Sydney Marathon. I ran a PB for the half marathon.
Yeah.
The first half.
Yeah.
So that's how you know you've gone too quick.
Yeah.
and then I was a lot slower in the second half, but I still finished in like 3.5 hours, so it was all right. I'm running along at about 20 Ks, and I was running with the pacemakers. It's a big city marathon, and I was running with like the three. I forget which. It was either the 3:15 or I think it was probably the 3:15 pacemaker. So I was well ahead of schedule, but I felt really good. And then the pacemaker was really chatty. I don't know if you've ever run in a big city marathon or anything like that.
Probably McLaren Vale half is the biggest.
And the pacemakers sort of have a job, to really encourage people, obviously keep people on the schedule. And, I think it's great. I'd love to try it one day. And I was running along with this guy, the pacemaker, and he was, probably in his 50s, but he was incredible. 3:15 pace was very easy for him. Mm-hmm. And there was another guy in the group who was wearing a 6-foot track shirt.
Yeah.
He'd obviously completed that. The pacemaker's like, going, oh, you've done 6-foot track. You should be up the front somewhere. And he's just really talking this guy up. And I was like, oh, he does look really fit. He had massive calves because he was a trail runner, obviously.
Yeah.
And 6-foot track is in the Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
I think it's like 46 kilometres or something like that. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try and beat that guy. And, I mean, even though my race fell apart, his race fell apart even worse.
Yeah.
So I did beat him. But it was interesting, though, because I sort of think when you see people front up to races wearing a previous race shirt, you go, it does send a message.
It does.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, this guy or lady knows what they're doing.
They've done that.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
But I think the only one I bought in the last 2 years was Heysen last year. The photo that they used was from my birthday.
Yes.
It was my birthday run. They'd taken a photo and then stylized it a bit, and it was like, well, I have to buy that t-shirt.
Excellent. Well, there you go.
That was really cool. But
you're like famous. Becomes
no,
iconic.
I'm trying to remember who was in the photo. I think it was Barry and Michelle. In the photo. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It was a really nice shot.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
What else we got?
Now, should trail running be an Olympic sport?
I definitely think a massive thumbs up.
Yeah.
How about you?
Little preface story, because I think if they're looking at this, anything should be an Olympic sport. I've watched that TV show, We Are the Champions. It's on Netflix with my kids. Have you seen that?
No.
It's amazing. Like the first episode is about the cheese rolling event.
Oh, I've seen this, where they fall down the hill.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
But one of the episodes was about dog dancing.
Yeah.
As a competitive sport.
Wow.
And they've been building it up, and they're incredibly serious about getting it into the Olympics and have some backers, and
really?
They're seriously looking at that. So I'm a little bit of, surely trail running should be, but I didn't realise you said that mountain biking is already there, because I think one of the major criticisms was trail running is very hard to video because it goes over such long distances in kind of remote spots. So it's hard to get the camera crews, hard to take videos. But if they've already got mountain biking, they'd already worked out how to do that. As you said, they could use the same course.
Drones, stationary cameras.
Yep. So I don't think with all the advances in drones, there's any excuse anymore. And absolutely thumbs up. Trail running should be an Olympic sport.
I think it'd be incredibly exciting. And you would get... I mean, it's a sport that... I mean, Olympics... I love the Olympic Games. Always have. And, like, I really hope that the 2020 Olympics goes ahead next year after being put off this year. And just because... And I'll watch every sport, just about. Like, I love... It was the thing that really hooked me into sport generally, you know, is, and just that faster, higher, stronger, which is their motto, Citius, Altius, Fortius. That's right. But I know that, like, you could utilise the mountain bike course, and even say they do a loop that's like a 10K loop, and they could do it a couple of times. So for spectators, it's great.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not hard to find. Most Olympic cities have to have some form of... there's prerequisites. Like, you know, can you just... Yeah, I just think it'd be really cool to see people like... you know, Killian, like flying down these hills. It would make a great spectator sport. It would raise the profile of the sport. But I know that a lot of people are really worried because it is a niche sport, and we like our little niche.
We do, and it has been exploding without that coverage.
Yeah,
really,
yeah. So I don't know. I know a lot of people disagree.
When we all went into lockdown, well, not quite lockdown, but way back in March.
Yep.
Like the number of people that were suddenly on the trail.
Was it less enjoyable? I stayed away from the trails.
It was. Yeah. That only really lasted for about a week and a half, and then people kind of toned down again and became quieter. But yeah, there's a lot of... I mean, obviously, we share the trails, but I find that when people walk, they walk abreast.
Yeah.
And then don't really want to move. They half move.
It's more because they haven't learnt the etiquette of the trail.
Yeah. So it does make it a little tricky.
Yeah. It's funny this year for that very reason, I started avoiding the trails a bit because I know one day I ran down to my local trailhead and the car park was just full of cars.
Yeah.
And it was the middle of because everyone, what else are they going to do? And there were cars parked up the street here and there. I'm like, I'm not going up there. No. And so I just ran on the road and I just ran on the Torrens River.
Yeah.
And then it's really influenced the way my year went because I started just going, I'm going to use this time to really develop my flat ground running.
Okay.
And it's been good, you know, like, and I've actually fallen in love with running rhythmically again, you know.
Yeah.
And so I haven't done as much elevation this year, but I do feel like I've developed my my overall running fitness. Yeah. You know. So interesting. But that was a bit of a tangent, but it's still good.
So that was our thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
And then
what else we got?
Your suggestion was to have a bit of a top highlights of the year, like best running moments. Top 3 for 2020.
Top 3. I've got... Okay, I can think... Do you want to go one each?
Yep,
and it's
all right.
1 by 1 to 1?
Okay.
Would you like to go first? If you haven't got one, I've got one to go.
Well, I mean, my obvious one would be Heysen.
Yeah, knocking that out.
So, second 100 and...
Are these in no particular order?
Yeah, no particular order.
Okay, good.
Heysen was one where I knew it was going to be super tough physically.
Yeah.
And therefore it would be solely a mental game, probably by Mount Compass. And I was actually really looking forward to that. I wanted that mental challenge. I wanted to...
Why is that? Do you want to expand on that?
It's more about, you know, what I've been through in the past year, which I won't talk about. But I felt that the journey I'd gone on with that I had become mentally tougher. And I don't know why I felt the need to prove it to myself, but I just did. And so I didn't deliberately not train properly. It's just what happens. And then I was deciding, do I drop to the 60? Do I pull out? And I went, no, it's going to suck. It's going to be tough. Prove to yourself that you can get through that. And so I did. And when I hit that wall at about 50K, it was really... I talked before about how I've heard on the Trail Runner Nation podcast someone saying when you go into an event, your why has to be bigger than any reasons to quit. And so when I hit that wall, which was inevitable, there wasn't even a question of dropping out. It's like, no, this is exactly what you're here for today, to get through this. It was just wonderful. And at the end, the video I made, I said it's indescribable, and I still can't describe it now, the feeling of pride that you get.
Yeah.
But if you're all trail runners, then you understand that. Like you push through something hard and you get through the other side, and it's the best feeling in the world.
So the deeper the down, the higher the high.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And maybe it was a sense of like catharsis for you. That feeling of having to do something that hurt you, to just as a way of, I
mean, that very specific day of Heysen last year was the catalyst for the emotional journey, and as people who know me know, it was physically a very interesting day for me last year as well. So to prove that I could also learn the lessons of that and end the race healthy this year, so physically healthy, like that's important
good.
too.
Which you more or less did. I mean, everyone's going to feel pretty crappy after 100 Ks, but you didn't end up in hospital.
We were discussing before that I seem to have some natural blood pressure issues, like it's naturally low, and I've got to work out how I'm going to manage that. Because I did have a little funny turn about an hour after the end, but it's just some research and just further work on that and work out how to manage.
I think that you've got, I mean, you, even by your own admission, you got through this year's run on a lot less training. Nutrition and hydration strategy improvement. With a little bit more training.
Yes, definitely.
You'll the sky's the limit. You've definitely proven that you've got the toughness now. Yeah. So, like, I mean, this is the coach coming out of me.
Okay.
You know, the next time that you run it, you're not just running it to do it. You're running. Now you're competing against last year's.
It's going to be 10K longer.
Yeah.
And we're going to be going.
I know it's a different race.
We're going to be going kind of
the hilly stuff.
That super steep bit when you come out of Yulti, and then by my Ponga, it might even be getting dark, and you're going up that.
I think it'll be
instead of down that.
A much harder race. Yeah, different.
It's going to
race.
be interesting.
But I still think you could surprise yourself.
All right, we'll see.
One of my top running things from this year was a particular month, and that was so in June this year. Just because looking for things to do, I took on the Calendar Club Challenge. Mm-hmm. And that's where you run a kilometre for whatever day of the week it is.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever day of the month.
Okay.
So on the 1st of June, I ran 1K. 2nd of June, 2Ks.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth. It was an awesome experience.
Okay.
And it was both way more enjoyable than I expected, but also got way more challenging. Got very challenging towards the end. So first week, I think I did about 26 kilometres or something.
Yeah.
Which is virtually nothing, it was really... Yeah. And you'd go out, and I remember the first day, my wife was out the front, and I said, okay, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. And I mean literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I ran 500 metres down the road, turned around and came back. And that was day one.
Wow.
And then adding a kilometre each time. And it started... By the 10th of the month, I remember I was like, this is fun. It was like, okay... And then every day from then on started to get a bit harder. And then I think week 2 I did about 70-something kilometres.
Yeah.
Week 3 I got up to over 100-something kilometres in the week. But the last 7 days I ran the biggest week of my life.
Yeah.
I ran 189 kilometres. And I got it done. And so it was great. It was a huge month in the end of running, and I really am so glad I did it. And I came out of it feeling really fit, because it's like. But so the first in the last week, I was avoiding elevation a fair bit. I was just like, it's just taking so long. It just became such a huge part of. Every day, okay, I got to go and do 28 kilometres today, and and then 29 kilometres. And there was and I was trying to do all the runs in the morning, so that I had maximum recovery time.
Yeah.
Because if you do it in the afternoon or the evening, then you're forced to do the remainder of your runs in the evening.
Yes.
Because you don't have enough time to recover.
Yeah.
If you go out. And so, I did one run that was like, I think it was when I was about 28 kilometres, and I couldn't get out until 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
That was really mentally very tough.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and I recall my wife was actually on call because she's a nurse, and so I couldn't be more than 10 minutes from the house.
Yep.
In case she got a phone call, I had my phone with me, and so there was lots of little loops around the neighbourhood, and I was just like, I'll go up this street again, and down this street, and hello again. Yeah. But nevertheless, I think there was a real mentally toughening experience.
Yeah, I don't like loops and doing the same. Like I did the driveway challenge during lockdown recently, and just going up and down my driveway 160 times. Yeah. That's what it ended up being, and I looked up at that driveway at the start of the hour going, I don't know if I can do this. That's the mental challenge of that boredom. Because, I did measure it. I can't remember what it is now, how many metres my driveway is, but it's not very long.
But, those sorts of things are hard. Yeah, I did that. Like I said, you did how far? 10? I think
it was 7K in the end.
Yeah.
With about 240 elevation because it's a slope driveway.
And I did like 5 kilometres in my driveway. And even though I think my driveway is a bit longer than yours, I found it impossibly frustrating.
And all the U-turns.
You have to keep
constantly slowing down.
Ankles get sore, don't they? And I found I had to start changing direction the other way.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, because otherwise I was sort of alternating every time. You get a little bit dizzy, don't you? And you can't get up to a proper pace.
No.
Yeah, it is frustrating.
And my son came out and joined me for the last about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
up and down. Yeah,
it's good. Yeah. It's mental toughening. You know? All these things. I think every run matters. Yeah. All right. So
another one for me was the TRSA V4 series. I think because the government had just announced you're allowed to go out exercising with somebody. They'd realised, that's a safety issue. You need to have someone, and so it was just lovely. It became a real focus of meeting a friend somewhere. And doing, because there were 8 different courses you could do. So I don't usually go to Morialta, but that's where someone wanted to run, and there's somebody I'd never really run with and really liked, and so it was great. We got to have a couple of hours just chatting in Morialta to get the 21K loop done, and then did a few different loops in Blair National Park with different people. It just became a real way to catch up with people one-on-one and just have a good chat and a good run. Yeah. So that actually was really special in that way.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that one.
That's awesome. I didn't participate. I think I avoided people a lot this year in terms of just I was a little bit I don't want to say paranoid. I was probably quite cautious. Especially I found it didn't send a very good message to be out running I'm not saying, and especially seeing as my wife worked in healthcare as a nurse, and I've become, like a lot of people, a bit more relaxed about things. I still take my hygiene very seriously, obviously, and wearing masks in like supermarkets and stuff like that. And I realise being out on the trail is probably one of the safer places you can be. Yeah.
But I think I didn't take it seriously enough at the beginning because, I work in a school. And they weren't shutting them down. So you're in a room with lots of people. You're all using the same toilets, the same door handles, the same light switch. You're just in constant contact with hundreds of people. And so I had a bit of an attitude, if it's really that serious, why aren't schools shut down?
Yeah, I know a lot of teachers
but then eventually they did. It's thank goodness. So I was so glad in the recent lockdown when they actually included schools. Yeah. It's yes, that just makes sense. Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
What have we got? So my next one was probably the race I did, the one official race I did this year, the Ultra Easy in New Zealand, which I've talked about on my podcast a fair bit. Yep. It's probably one of the better races I've ever done in my life, which is so good. Lake Wanaka, probably one of the most beautiful towns in the whole world. It's there's this beautiful blue lake, and you're skirted by mountains, and even in summer they've got snow on top of them. Okay. And the Ultra Easy, you run along, starting at 3 a.m. You run 30 kilometres on the flat, more or less flat. There's a few hills, and then you run around the lakefront, and then at the 30k mark, you climb Roy's Peak, which climbs 1,200 meters in 7 kilometers, and then you go straight up the face of this as the sun's rising. I got to the top of that peak, and I was near tears. It was just so good. The sun's coming up over these mountains. I felt like I was in Middle Earth. I mean, obviously it's New Zealand.
Yeah.
But it was just everything I could have wanted. And running along these ridge lines, where it's certain death on either side.
Oh goodness! And how wide's the path?
Well, wide enough. I mean, you'd have to be pretty, not like rocky or anything. It's like smooth path, but like there was a sense of danger.
Okay.
But not that you'd have to be pretty stupid to fall off it. Then overall, there's 4,500 meters of climbing, and so you go up a few peaks.
Wow.
In the last 70 kilometers is 4,500 meters of climbing, and it's great. And then the very last 20 k's is a 20 kilometer descent. So you're just going down this steady hill for 20 k's.
So you did a lot of quad work beforehand?
Not enough. I still had a good run. Like I did it in under 14 and a half hours.
Yeah.
And I was pretty pleased with that time. I was expecting to do about 16. The last 20 k's was just, and that was the second big descent of the day. And I remember just thinking I've got to work on my downhill running. It's just, we don't have anything that even comes close to replicating that here. You're just going down. I longed for an uphill. Yeah. Like after a while, I was just like, oh, my quads, my feet were rolling inwards, my knees were knocking together. Like I looked like crap. I felt like crap, but I still had a good experience. Like overall. Yeah. And you get to the bottom of the hill, and then there's like 1 or 2 kilometers of just flat running, and then you're at the finish line. Yeah. But great. I love that experience. So I want to go back then. Yeah. Your last one.
Yeah, my last one. My last one would be a run. So after the 100k, obviously, you take a break. You don't really run for a bit. So I think so that was the Saturday. Even Thursday night, there was an event I was at. I had to go upstairs, and I'd felt really good all day going, oh, cool, maybe I can run tonight. And then I went up the stairs. And my body went, no, we can't do stairs yet. Wow. But then even just like day to day getting better. So on the Friday, I did go out for just a really easy 5k. Yeah. And then on the Monday, I went out again thinking I'll do a super easy 5k. So this is a week later. And I have never felt more amazing on a run ever. I don't know why, but I just felt like I was that runner's high. Like I just is the this whole run.
How many days after?
This is a week. What week and a day after?
100k legs. And
so I went out for an easy 5. It ended up being a really good solid bits where I was trying hard 10k, and I hadn't taken a head torch. So the last 2k's was in pitch black. I had to shift to Queen's Jubilee to make sure I wasn't going to trip over. Wow! But I just felt so good. I didn't want to stop. Yeah. And I just seemed crazy, but I just went with it and had the most fun run I've ever had.
That's like, I call that the 100k legs.
Okay.
After, I get a similar thing. A lot of people do. Yeah. And I think it's got a lot to do with you've recovered from the, like the muscle, I was going to say muscles. Your muscles have recovered more or less, but your aerobic fitness is at an all-time high. And so, and that's what it is, because you've just done a really long run. Yeah. And so, aerobically, you're at next level. And so, and obviously you have to still be gentle, but that's why it's good. If you time your recovery well, you can really capitalise on that to take it into the next training block. Okay. Rather than have too much time off. And so, it's a good feeling. I've had similar sorts of feelings.
That's great.
That's how you know you did better than before. That's a great thing to think of. So that recovered run, yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. No, I guess my last top 3 thing was the day one day I was this August. I was thinking I needed a challenge of some description, So I just decided, I thought, okay, tomorrow I'll run Eurobilla. just for the hell of it.
Yep.
Just on my own. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And so I quickly jumped in the car, drove up to a couple of points where I hid a little bit of food and water. I only did 2 drop-off points.
Yeah.
And I thought because it was too much of a hassle to drive all around. And so I hid some food and some sports drinks and some water. And then I set out from home at like 5 a.m. and I did basically the Eurobilla course, not the 5 peaks, the Eurobilla course in reverse.
Yeah.
So you could call it 5, but the actual Eurobilla trail from start to finish. And I did it all by myself. And I thought, this is going to be kind of weird and tough. And it was really cold and foggy. So it was lovely. I love it when the trails are foggy. And I remember my wife challenged me. She said, see if you can do it without listening to music or any podcasts. So I ran the whole way on my own, just in my own head.
Okay.
And I did not get bored.
No.
It was really... Because usually in a race, I never would use it.
Yeah.
But in training runs, I'll quite often depend on it. And it was great. Yeah. So, had a really good experience there. I would highly recommend it. So that's my top 3.
Yeah.
And that's your top 3.
Yeah.
I think we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
And a fun little thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
Crossover. Oh goodness.
Do you have any other races before we wrap it up?
I usually ask people, what have they got coming up on the calendar? For me, it's Hubert next year. Just going back to the very first big event I ever did.
Yeah.
Now that I'm not so terrified.
Which distance?
The marathon. So that's one where I hurt my ankle and I didn't know how to pace. Like I'd never run over, I think it was 21 kilometres going into that.
Oh, wow. So you just thought you'd double it?
Yeah, why not? So I was going to do that this year, but that got COVID cancelled. So
that's it.
Shifted that to next year.
Yeah.
That's what's next. I got Anstey this weekend.
Oh, the Summer Trail
Series? Have a little bit of fun. Yeah, I signed up for the medium course in that just to just put things on the calendar and tick it over. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, well, my next thing on my calendar is also Hubert.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love that race, and I'm sad that this will be the end of it. I haven't signed up yet, but my plan is to I'm doing the 100 mile.
Oh yeah.
So and I finally, after bunch of done quite a few hundreds, it's time to have a crack. Because apparently in some parts of the world you're not a true ultra runner until you've done 100 miles.
Yeah.
But this is one that's always been, if I was going to do 100 miles, this is the one I wanted to do it in. I like the idea of sort of mastering a distance. Like, and sort of going further and further and further is not always better, but in this case, like I want to come back down and do some faster 100k runs, but I just want to really test myself and go 100 miles, do a pretty good show. So I'm getting into full training now. Excellent. I've been, I just knocked out, I think 100Ks last week, and I'll be doing a lot of that and more through summer, which is always fun. Yeah. Bit of strength work, keeping consistent. So I guess we'll see each other up there.
Yeah, we will.
In some capacity.
Yeah, I intend to do hopefully a podcast with a couple of people, and I'm going to do a car trip. So it'll be a car trip podcast.
Great.
See how we're feeling, and then kind of trip back what it was like, and we can try and grab you while we're there, find out how you went. Yeah,
that's good. If I can be what's the word? Compass mentis.
Yeah.
I'll probably. I remember last year or the year before, or whenever it was on last, I did the 50k with my wife, and we came across quite a few of the 100-mile runners. I caught up. I remember we caught up to Kate Sieber.
Yep.
And she.
Was she walking by then? Because she had a great first.
She was
about 90 odd k.
I tell you where we passed her. She was within her last 15 k's. She was going up St Mary's, and she was fantastic. She had a big smile on her face.
Yeah.
She's like, I feel great. I'm tired, but this is awesome. And it was just like, yes. I love it. I love that. Like, she's probably had loads of ups and downs, but she was at that time. Because at that point she was
battling a really sore hip, which was from an injury previous to the event, and just went, I'm going to finish. And
she did great.
Still did a good time because she'd done so brilliantly the first part.
Yeah. And I think she got on the podium, if I'm not mistaken, so that's pretty cool. And so so I'm just it's time for me to go and to get it done, and I want to have a good run and have a good experience, a trail runner's experience.
Hey.
I've never done that in any episode. It's only taken 70 episodes. Anyway.
Yeah, and coming up on this one, we were talking before, next podcast of this will be Tash, who did the 200 miler.
Yeah. And
we were joking before, you said, well, she's not really a mid-packer. I'm like, well, technically she came second out of 3. So she is, this will be a tale from the exact mid-pack coming up next.
Very much so.
So there's my pun on my title.
That's good. Yeah. She's a podium and a mid-packer, but she's generally pretty quick, isn't she? Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. No, I think you're killing it with your podcast. I think keep going and don't.
Well, you've got multiple on the go.
I know, too many podcasts. I know, everyone's sick of my voice, I'm sure. But no, it's been fun. And I really enjoyed your time today.
Yeah. Same for you. Thanks for your time. And,
all right.
And I'll go through, and as always, I'll put links to anything that we've mentioned in the show notes, so you can check some things out. Yeah.
And if you're listening to the Trail Runners Experience on my podcast, obviously, go and check out Tales from the Midpack. It's a good one. It's
little homegrown one, they're all single mum, just getting it done when I can. But some good people on there.
It's good. Yeah. Inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
See you, Rebecca.
Bye, Daniel.